Today we are doing lesson 6.2, which is all about dividing fractions and mixed numbers. Our goal today is to use an algorithm to divide fractions. And a reminder of what an algorithm is, it's pretty much like a rule, a pattern that you follow and that will work every time that we're dividing fractions. So just to write out a general pattern for us, so that we can see what this algorithm will look like. If we have a over b, and we're using variables here, divided by c over d, our algorithm is going to look like this. A over b, our first fraction, will stay the same. Whoop. Try to fix that up a little bit for us. So our first fraction we keep. Then we change our sign to multiplication, and we flip our second fraction. So it's going to be d over c. And with that, we should be able, or we will be able, to divide our fraction and find the correct answer. I'm looking in your math journal at page number 208. Which is part of your assignment today. And we aren't going to be looking at the whole page, but we're going to go ahead and look at, starting with number 5, how to use this algorithm to divide fractions. So, number 5, we have 3/8 divided by 5/6. On the line next to number 5, you're going to be writing exactly what I'm writing down here. So, we keep our first fraction, based on our algorithm, we keep that. We change our sign, so instead of dividing, we're multiplying, and then we flip our second fraction. So instead of having 5/6, we're going to have 6/5. Now you should have this written down too to show that you're using the algorithm. Now I can go ahead and multiply across. 3 times 6 is 18. 8 times 5 is 40. And that's my answer. However, I do need to write it in simplest form. So to simplify that, I'm going to divide them by 2, which will give me 9/20. And that is my final answer. Pretty simple for our first one. Let's do another problem. Let's move on to number 6 and give that a try. So number 6, I keep forgetting I want to draw a circle around it so it doesn't look like part of your problem. We have 4/7 divided by 2/3. Again, we want you to show your work today so you're practicing using that algorithm, making sure you're doing it correctly. And the words that I want you to remember are keep, that's the first thing, change your sign from division to multiplication, and flip your second fraction. So those are the steps we're going to follow again. You can write this down in your math journal if you want to. You can write this down in your math notebook if you want to. So keep 4/7, that stays the same. Change our sign to multiplication. Flip our fraction from 2/3 to 3/2, or 3/2. Then I can go ahead and multiply across with my fraction. Remember, we don't need a common denominator to multiply fractions. 4 times 3 is 12. 7 times 2 is 14. And we know in the directions it tells us to simplify. So I'm going to simplify by dividing by 2. Just write that down so you can see what I'm doing. I did not do that last time. And that gives me 6/7, which is my final simplified answer. You are going to finish page 208 by yourself and go up and do the math message. So we skipped the math message, but you need to do that whole page. But right now we're going to actually hop over to our second page, 209. On page 209, you can see you have quite a few more where you're dividing two fractions, but I want to hop down and look at some that have some mixed numbers here. So let's go ahead and look at number 18. So number 18 on page 209. Number 18, I have 1 2/3 divided by 2 1/4. We're still going to use our algorithm, keep, change, flip, but we need to make sure we know how to do this with mixed numbers. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to keep my 1 2/3. However, I'm going to write that as an improper fraction because that's a little easier to work with when you're multiplying. So then we'll have 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. We'll have 5/3, which we keep. We just wrote it differently. I'm going to change my sign. So now I'm multiplying. And now I need to flip this. But before I can flip 2 and 1/4, I need to write that as an improper fraction. So 2 and 1/4 is the same as 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9, is the same as 9/4. However, I'm not going to write 9/4 down here as part of my algorithm because I need to flip it too. So my new algorithm, it's going to be 4/9. So I should have 5/3 times 4/9. 5 times 4 is 20. 3 times 9 is 27. And I can't simplify that, so that's my final answer for number 18. You have several others that work with this, so go ahead and follow what we did here. Your assignment today is simply to finish these 2 math journal pages. We're splitting this lesson up into 2 days just to make sure we are getting pretty strong at this. So you're just doing math journal page 208, the whole thing, and math journal page 209, the whole thing. Then I have some IXLs written down here for you, I3, K1, K2, and L2. Go ahead and practice those and make sure that you're working towards your goal of 40 minutes for IXL this week.